Aaliyah Dana Haughton was more than just a singer. She was a cultural icon, a trailblazer, and an artist who redefined the sound of modern R&B. Her presence was magnetic, her voice ethereal, and her talent undeniable. She seemed destined for a future filled with limitless success. But on August 25, 2001, that future was taken away in an instant. Aaliyah's sudden and tragic death in a plane crash at just 22 years old left the world in shock. The official explanation was simple: an overloaded aircraft, an unqualified pilot, and a tragic accident. But in the years since, troubling details have surfaced. Whispers of last-minute changes, unsettling warnings, and decisions that didn't quite make sense. Was Aaliyah's final flight truly an accident? Or was there something more beneath the surface? This is the story of Aaliyah's final fight. A star on the rise. From an early age, it was clear that Aaliyah was special. Born in Brooklyn and raised in Detroit, she was a child prodigy, performing on national television by the age of 10 and signing her first record deal just a few years later. By 15, she had released her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, which introduced the world to her smooth, effortless vocals. Her second album, One in a Million, catapulted her to stardom. With its futuristic beats and sultry melodies, it set a new standard for R&B. Collaborating with Timbaland and Missy Elliott, Aaliyah crafted a sound that was ahead of its time, blending hip-hop rhythms with dreamy, almost hypnotic vocals. By 2001, she was at the peak of her career. She had just released her self-titled third album, a project that showcased her evolution as an artist. She was also making waves in Hollywood, starring in Romeo Must Die alongside Jet Li and preparing for roles in the Matrix sequels. She had the talent, the drive, and the vision. The world was finally beginning to see just how far Aaliyah could go. Then, everything changed. The trip to the Bahamas. In August 2001, Aaliyah traveled to the Bahamas to film the music video for Rock the Boat, a sensual, hypnotic song that had all the makings of another hit. The shoot was grueling, long hours under the relentless Caribbean sun, but Aaliyah remained composed and professional. Yet, something was off. Some who were close to her would later claim that Aaliyah had a bad feeling about the trip. She wasn't one to be superstitious, but there was a lingering hesitation in her demeanor. Whether it was exhaustion or something deeper, she seemed uneasy. Despite the long filming schedule, the shoot wrapped ahead of time. The team was originally scheduled to return to the US the following morning, but at the last minute, a decision was made to leave that evening instead. It was a seemingly minor change, but one that would prove to be fateful, the flight that should never have happened. At 6:50 p.m., Aaliyah and her entourage arrived at Marsh Harbor Airport. They were eager to return home, but when they saw the plane waiting for them, concerns arose. The aircraft, a twin-engine Cessna 402B, was small. Too small for the amount of people and cargo they were carrying. The pilot, Luis Morales III, was uneasy about the weight. The plane was already packed with video equipment, and adding 9 passengers pushed it far beyond its limit. Morales initially refused to fly, but after pressure from the group, he relented. One witness, Kingsley Russell, later claimed that Aaliyah didn't want to board. She was exhausted and preferred to wait for a larger plane. According to Russell, she was given a sedative to help her relax, and when she fell asleep, she was carried onto the aircraft. If true, it raises unsettling questions. At 6:55 p.m., the overloaded plane took off. It didn't get far. Just 200 feet into the air, it struggled under the weight, pitched forward, and nosedived into the ground. A violent explosion followed, sending smoke and debris into the air. Aaliyah and 8 others were killed on impact. The investigation. The world was in mourning. Fans, friends, and fellow artists were devastated. The suddenness of her death felt unreal, almost impossible to comprehend. But as the investigation unfolded, troubling details emerged. The aircraft was overloaded by at least 700 pounds, well beyond its safety limit. The weight imbalance made it nearly impossible to control. Then came the revelation about the pilot. Luis Morales III was not qualified to fly the plane. He had falsified his credentials, lying about his training and experience. Toxicology reports later revealed traces of cocaine and alcohol in his system. He should have never been allowed to operate an aircraft, let alone one carrying Aaliyah and her team. What seemed like a tragic accident was now looking like a case of gross negligence. But was that the full story? Unanswered questions and theories. Even with the findings of the investigation, many felt that something was still missing. Over the years, several theories have emerged, attempting to make sense of what really happened that day. Was Aaliyah forced onto the plane? If Kingsley Russell's account is true, Aaliyah never agreed to take that flight. If she had reservations about the aircraft's safety, why was she on board? Was she pressured by those around her, told that waiting wasn't an option? If she had been allowed to follow her instincts, could she have avoided the tragedy? The pressure of the industry. The entertainment business moves fast. Schedules are tight, and deadlines are non-negotiable. Aaliyah's team may have felt an urgency to return, pushing safety concerns aside to stay on track. Were corners cut in the name of efficiency? Theories of foul play. In the years following her death, conspiracy theories have circulated, some more outlandish than others. One of the most persistent claims is that Aaliyah's passing paved the way for other artists, namely Beyoncé, to dominate the industry. It's an eerie coincidence that just months after Aaliyah's passing, Destiny's Child broke out as the world's biggest girl group, and Beyoncé's solo career took off. Some theorists suggest powerful figures in the music industry manipulated events behind the scenes. Of course, there is no solid evidence to support this, but the theory persists, fueled by the strange circumstances of Aaliyah's final moments. Was her death purely a tragic accident, or was it something more? A legacy that lives on. Regardless of the unanswered questions, one truth remains. Aaliyah's legacy endures. Her music continues to influence generations of artists. Her style remains iconic. Her presence is still felt, even decades after her passing. But the question lingers. What if? What if she had waited for another plane? What if she had lived to see the heights of her career? Would she have become the biggest artist of her time? Perhaps we will never know. But one thing is certain. Aaliyah was, and always will be, one in a million. Aaliyah's story is one of brilliance, passion, and a life that ended far too soon. But though she is gone, her legacy remains unshaken. Her music still resonates, her influence still shapes the industry, and her spirit continues to inspire. Yet, the questions surrounding her final moments refuse to fade. Was it simply a tragic accident, or was there more beneath the surface? No matter what the truth may be, one thing is certain. Aaliyah's light can never be dimmed. She was more than a singer. She was a force, a visionary, and an artist whose impact will never be forgotten. What do you think? Was Aaliyah's final flight just an unfortunate tragedy, or is there more to the story? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to see more deep dives into untold stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.